Well, what a match we have just witnessed. I think it's safe to say that a lot of people came into the 2023 Wimbledon final expecting that Novak Djokovic would, in fact, be the man who would become only the second person in the history of tennis after Margaret Court to have actually gone on to win 24 Grand Slams. But Carlos Alcaraz, remember the name, he had other plans, and my goodness, what a final we've just witnessed. Five set, absolute modern classic. And it does seem like at long last that the present has, or rather the future has beaten the present and past all-time great. The future being, of course, Alcaraz, and the past and present great being one Novak Djokovic. Djokovic, of course, you remember, came into this particular Grand Slam chasing history, 24 Grand Slams, first ever male tennis player to have gotten, or would have been that first player to get to that mark, would have also equaled Roger Federer's mark of 8 Wimbledon titles. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. And I'll just sum up the final, and hopefully we'll be joined on this live stream with a few more people. I'm expecting a few more guests, and we're going to have a long discussion about this. This was just absolutely wonderful to watch. But a quick summary of how the match played out. First set, it was safe to say an absolute walkover for Novak Djokovic. It just seemed like it was never going to be any kind of a final or any kind of a classic final after that first set, because not only did Djokovic break Alcaraz's serve twice, he ended up winning the set 6-1. In fact, at one point, it looked like Alcaraz was in danger of being bageled. It looked like a 6-0 in the first set was on the cards. Thankfully, that wasn't really the case. And then in the second set, well, Alcaraz fought very hard because, again, he was broken. He broke back. It ended up going to a tiebreak, which he then won 8-6. So, again, that wasn't easy. The third set, I think the third set, the key moment, and we'll be breaking this down, as I said, in some detail in just a bit. The real detailed thing, or the real game-changing moment for me, the moment where the match really turned, was that one set where Djokovic was serving and the game just went on and on and on. In fact, if I remember correctly, the exact length was 26 minutes and 2 seconds. That's how long the game went on. It went up to, there were about 13 deuces, and Alcaraz had 7 break points before, he broke set on the 7th break point. So 6 failed attempts at breaking the serve of Djokovic. When he finally did so, he made sure that the advantage stuck, because he ended up going from 1 set down to being 2-1 up heading into the 4th set. There was, of course, a little bit of controversy at the end of the 3rd set because, well, Djokovic ended up taking a toilet break, which a lot of people didn't really appreciate, because it did seem like it was, let's just say, gamesmanship. Of course, well within the rules. He was within his rules to be doing that, but it did help swing the momentum in his way. He took the 4th set with consummate ease. Come the 5th set, though, Alcaraz broke early, ensured that he held on to his serve thereafter. And, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new Wimbledon champion at long last. Djokovic's 4-year stranglehold, would have been a 5-year stranglehold on that Wimbledon men's singles title, done and dusted at last. And as I promised you, we were going to be having guests. We've got one Siddharth Vishwanathan with me. Siddharth, what a final we just witnessed.
I mean, if you thought 2019 was epic,
yeah, I think this is just redefined it.
Just on par. I will say it is just on par. But at that time, you are rooting for Federer. Maybe all 4 years later, all the heartbreak that Federer fans might have suffered. It is redemption in the form of Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, 2 perfect instances.
Yeah.
We all thought, when Novak Djokovic takes it to the tiebreaker, he will be unstoppable. What did Alcaraz do?
He broke
the tiebreaker. Took it to the 5th set. We thought, okay, 5th set. Djokovic is the absolute beast. What happened? He broke early, ensured he never let the momentum go. And this is a lesson that Djokovic might not have been dealt with for 5 to 6 years.
Longer. In fact, let me give you a bit of a stat here. The last time before today that Novak Djokovic lost a 5-set final was in 2012. The US Open that year, when he lost to Andy Murray. Or if I'm not wrong, it was 2013 actually. 2013. He lost to Andy Murray in the final of the US Open. That is the only final this man has lost, which has gone to 5 sets. Otherwise, he's never lost a 5-set final.
And consider this. When it was 1-0 1-6 in the first set. Honestly, we felt it was going to be a one-sided final,
Yeah,
isn't it?
everyone did.
But the way how Alcaraz held his own and matching Djokovic for intensity, fitness, unlike what he did in the French Open,
Yeah.
I think, be it the US Open or whatever, this has to go down as one of the finest triumphs in the modern
Siddharth,
day.
you remember me telling you yesterday when we were doing the preview, I said that, Alcaraz is someone who's known to have plenty of stamina. In the French Open, you didn't see it because he was coming off a very long injury layoff. Remember, he got injured post the US Open, then was fit for the Australian Open, ended up picking up another injury just before during training. So he was clearly undercooked. Today, you saw someone who I dare say he combines three facets. He has that ability of to really dig deep, which of course Djokovic and let's say Nadal also had. That one Federer-like aspect which I saw on him was that drop shot. How many times was he constantly pushing Nadal back to the baseline, and then one drop shot? That's it. Good night. That's all she wrote.
Taste of his own medicine today. Djokovic was totally flummoxed by the drop shot.
Yeah.
And because of that, he made him hustle. And I think Djokovic was not 100% also. If you have to look at his body, I think he was suffering an injury. It was just his mental toughness that took him along. And I remember one tweet by Sachin Tendulkar because he tweeted, injury to his body, not 100%. Mental toughness, take above Novak Djokovic. Coming from Sachin Tendulkar. Man, oh man. But yes, we all thought, 99% of us thought Alcaraz stood no chance. But this is one time I am really, really glad that I have been proven wrong. I am really glad about that.
Yeah, same. Nikhil, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I didn't know that I joined the chat. I also consumed answering messages from all my friends who are tennis friends, who are all up late at night watching this final. I was just looking at the time, and it could very well have been the longest Wimbledon final. The longest was 4 hours 57 minutes. That was 2019 final.
No. Yeah.
That was the 2019. This had a chance of going past it, but it did not because Carlos Alcaraz ensured that it did not. But at one point, I thought it would, because had it gone like where we are talking right now, it had gone another 5 minutes or so from where we are right now, and this would have been the longest ever final in Wimbledon history. It wasn't to me, but it still happens to be one of the finest finals. I'm not going to say the finest because 2008 will always be the best final that I've seen, followed by 2019.
Yeah.
And this would be probably third in that list. But having said that, I think why I rated 2008 very high, because it was a sort of a catalyst. It was that, moment which kind of changed tennis, because there was this young kid called Rafael Nadal who had before this won Grand Slams, but he was expected to be just a clay court player, and he wins that Wimbledon, and then it just changes the world of tennis. And I think dare I say that we're standing right now on a threshold of a similar moment, because why I say that is that Novak Djokovic in the past has lost matches. It's not the first time that Novak Djokovic has lost a match. But what I saw in these 4 odd hours of the Wimbledon final was that the occasions where Novak Djokovic lost was the times where Novak Djokovic wasn't on the top of his game. Today, I thought Novak Djokovic was on top of his game. Yet he found an opposition, a man on the other side of the net, a young 20-year-old who got the better of him on a surface that is much to the liking of a Novak Djokovic and not to the liking of the young kid who was on the other side of the net in Carlos Alcaraz. And yet, I say that him winning kind of, I don't know, it takes me back to 2008. Could this be a change of guard? Could this be signaling? Because it's so similar. A clay courter beating a certified grass court legend. It's exactly that. And it just coincidentally happens both are from Spain. A clay courter beats a certified legend on grass, on a surface, on a stage, which he literally ruled. I mean, center court is as much or belongs to Novak Djokovic as much as it belonged to before this to the likes of Pete Sampras or
Roger
Connors,
Federer.
Boggs, or whoever you've had in the past. I think it belonged to Novak Djokovic, if not as much, probably even more. From there, Carlos Alcaraz to come and win it, I think it's an incredible moment. And I think for once, Novak Djokovic felt like or experienced what it feels like to play Novak Djokovic.
Yeah.
Because those are the exact moments where he would turn it on and beat opponents. But what do I say? And the other thing which really caught my fancy, we all knew about Carlos Alcaraz, right? He's doing well. He's world number one. He's won a Grand Slam, US Open. We know he's a clay courter. He was being spoken of for a long time. But this is the 10th Grand Slam he's playing in his life. This was the 10th Grand Slam that he's playing in his life. For a guy playing his 10th Grand Slam up against arguably the greatest of all times on a surface that doesn't suit him, for him to have put up, having lost the first set the way that he did, for him to have put a performance like the one that he did right now speaks volume about this young kid. And I mean, I'm excited. I think I was kind of already thinking that I'm going to lose focus in tennis because the whole thing about tennis was that, Federer Nadal rivalry followed by Djokovic, and then it became, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. It gradually moved into just Nadal, Djokovic territory, and then it just moved into Djokovic territory. And then you were like, what are you going to watch tennis for? Djokovic is going to win everything. And there comes along a young kid. It's hope for all tennis fans who want to see a good competition. Absolutely incredible performances, nerves of steel, and a fantastic final to watch.
I mean, it's poignant that Nikhil points out about the change of the passing of the torch. It had to happen at Wimbledon, much before 2008. You remember Pete Sampras versus Roger Federer, 2001. That quarterfinal, which Federer won in 5 sets, that was the passing of the torch moment. And everybody at that time saw that, okay, maybe this is the last legs that Sampras has. And what happened? When Sampras left, Federer stepped into that void. And it was providence that it had to happen at Wimbledon. Like he said, 2008, two greats changing tennis forever. That epic 5-setter in near darkness. And what can we say about that fact that, see, Alcaraz now might be your next all-surface. I mean, he could be there amongst the best of the lot. So that is why tennis has gotten a lifeline by this win. Because had Djokovic won, we would have said, oh, no, now what do we do? What do we do? And you could see even in the fans, I mean, the amount of intensity, the amount of love that they showed for Alcaraz. I don't know, Djokovic continues to be heckled and all that. And he also gave an epic reply that he said no in one of, I think it was the semi-final.
Yeah, so the only thing that there was a context, I mean, we're all saying and we're looking at this new, hero coming in, and it's like a ray of hope for everyone who wants to watch good competitive tennis that Alcaraz comes and wins this. But I think that even if Djokovic would have won, I think it was still a monumental moment because 24 Grand Slam, he equals courts record on that front. So it becomes big even then. And him then 24 slams, the debate would have been GOAT and so on and so forth. So even then it would have been exciting and would have been live right now. And social media would have been abuzz with chatter of Novak Djokovic, really dominating, and we had all forgotten about Alcaraz. So I think either way the result went, there was plenty to talk about. There was plenty of context. There was history in the making, either ways. But I don't know, people would have preferred different results. But I was rooting for the underdog, as you always do. The only one thing which Siddharth points out, and I think that's the one thing that I will never agree with fans, that 23 Grand Slams, he rules the grass court, and yet you have crowds booing him, yet he's not the crowd's favorite. No matter who comes up against him, you start cheering for him. I think that's a bit disrespectful. And I think Novak Djokovic does a great job of handling those situations. Today he lost it a bit, hitting that racket to the net and got a violation as well. But I'm saying overall, for a man who's won so much, who's arguably in the debate for the greatest of all time, I think it's a bit disrespectful. I think you're doing disservice to not being respected, and whatever be the reasons, whether he, whether you don't like the medical timeouts that he takes, which crowds were booing him for, whether it is the country that he comes from, Eastern Europe, whatever, or his attitude on court, and him not getting along with two people's favorite in Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. All of these things have gone against him. I agree. Yet you got to respect what he's done on the tennis court. Yeah? He's been outstanding, and I think sometimes the crowd goes overboard. Though, not just the crowd, by the way. I don't know if you guys are listening to the commentary. Even the commentary was pretty biased.
Yeah.
Then, when he's 2-1 down, they say, "Oh, now comes the infamous toilet break." They say it before he takes it, and sure enough, he goes on to take it.
That's the thing. I think today, before that toilet break, the crowds were being pretty fair to him for the most part. And I agree, he does tend to get a more negative reaction than most. But that toilet break lasted 8 to 9 minutes. And I know there's a whole detail as to whether or not what he did was wrong. And I looked up the rules. He didn't actually do anything wrong.
Exactly.
But the toilet break was very opportune. And by the way, this is the same Djokovic who was very critical of Tsitsipas in 2021 when he took those numerous toilet breaks in the US Open. US Open it was.
French
in fact,
Open.
Tsitsipas's toilet break habit was so bad that it actually led to there being formal rules ratified to ensure that you can't take more than X number of minutes for, let's say, the toilet breaks. And Djokovic at that point was very critical of it. Ironically, though, Patrick Motrolagu had pointed out that Tsitsipas learnt it from, of all people, Djokovic. So I think his gamesmanship does kind of go against him. And then, of course, he ended up smashing his racket very badly.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I'm just saying that I agree. That's gamesmanship, right? And I think Novak does it. And the reason why the crowds don't like him, you saw him and he gets away also. There was this time that I think he was a break down or 3 break points down, crucial moment, second set or something. He extends his, service time, those 20 odd seconds that you have. He smartly tosses the ball up so the clock stops, and yet holds it back.
Bouncing it again, the clock resets. Yeah.
Because his excuse is, oh, the toss wasn't great, bad toss, which you're allowed to do, again, all within the rules, and he does it. I'm saying that either have stricter rules, but my point is that this is still gamesmanship, right? We see it on all sport. It happens in cricket, it happens in football. So many times you try and waste time and all of that. My point is that you don't start disliking a footballer, right, if he's wasting time at the end of the 90 minutes if his team is leading, or he fakes an injury. You don't I'm saying, fans still support him if he's a goal scorer, or if he's a big star, if he's a Ronaldo or a Messi, he does it. You still like him because you respect him for what that player does on the pitch. Okay, these kind of things, we've seen it in the past. We've seen it, I mean, out of all the people, the master at this was Diego Maradona. Yet wherever he went, he got a lot of love. I'm saying that this is gamesmanship. Other players try to. Maybe Djokovic does it a bit more than the others. But to disrespect him for these kind of things, and again, he does it within rules. Probably have stricter rules. Like I heard the commentary point out that if the ball toss is faulty and he's got a loophole there, that he does the ball toss and then the clock stops and he again starts bouncing it to delay. Maybe have a rule till the time the ball doesn't hit the racket or the serve is actually done. Don't stop the stop clock. There are occasions we've seen in the past. It's happened with Nadal. It's happened with Djokovic, where 23 seconds are done, and yet the chair umpire doesn't call it. So have stricter rules. Ensure that the players don't take that advantage. But I'm saying, to disrespect the player who's done so much and has achieved so much, I don't think that's fair. It won't happen in any other sport. A legend like this, yes, if you're playing against your team, like you're a big time footballer, you're a Maradona or a Zidane or a Messi or whatever, you're playing against your favorite team, will get booed there. But I'm saying in general, you're not playing against a British player. You're playing in Wimbledon against a Spanish player. There'll be Spanish fans, there'll be Serbian fans, but the crowd would be evenly split. But that doesn't happen with Djokovic. It's always majority of the crowd is against him, which I feel is a bit unfair because everyone indulges in gamesmanship.
Yep. But by the way, sweet revenge for Alcaraz. Djokovic got him on clay, which is touted to be his favorite surface. Alcaraz gets him in his favorite surface of grass.
But I
So,
think on that occasion,
no
Alcaraz
24.
was a bit injured. If I'm
He
not
was
mistaken,
definitely
Yes.
he
undercooked.
was having cramps and issues. He would have been a different
Yep.
Alcaraz if he was 100% fit. This match, I thought both of them were on peak fitness. I know Joko had
Peak
those
fitness, yes.
bandages for his legs and all of that, but I still feel that they were. I didn't see him in any terms or any moment of the match where he was a bit slow or anything. So I think fitness-wise, they were both there.
I think he picked up an injury on those one or two occasions where he slipped. There were a couple of occasions
Yeah.
where he was caught slipping. That's where I think he ended up slowing down. But I mean, he still took it to 5 sets, so I don't think it would have been that bad. I think this was just a case of Alcaraz doing to Djokovic what Djokovic does to everyone else, which is physically outlast them. And I think that's it. I think today Djokovic got to say what it's like to play against a younger version of himself.
But I tell you what, imagine their fitness levels, huh? I'm just going
Yeah.
back when they were Federer, Nadal, and all. They were playing 5 setters. They were also lasting 5 setters, and we used to discuss. Look at their energy, huh? These guys are lasting 5 sets, and look at it. But I tell you what, you moved a notch above. These guys are playing a 5 setter, but earlier there was a stage where players just could not last that long or play such long rallies or just last. We all remember Pete Sampras, vomiting on the tennis court. But then came the next level of fitness, like a Nadal who could last 5 setters, but you would see from fourth set onwards that he'd be struggling, and you'd have longer breaks, catching a breath and stuff like that. To now, I think this is the third level of fitness where Alcaraz, for example, playing a close to a 5-hour game, 4-hour plus, just felt like you could play 2 more sets.
Yeah.
Just didn't break a sweat. Just didn't break a sweat. Was never. I didn't think he was exhausted or running out of breath at any time. You could say that he could have lost the game with Djokovic's better shots or something like that. But at no point did you feel Alcaraz like, oh, he's going to get tired. Oh, we're going to be playing 5 hours. And, this is epic. Novak, Nadal. It's not about they're playing the fifth set. It's not about who's a better player. It's going to be about who's the fitter player, because they're both, running on fumes and last few, whatever bit of energy. But this next level where I don't even think they felt tired. It felt like it's the second set, fifth set. Just have a look at it again. Fifth set.
Yeah.
They're playing long rallies. Not tired at all. Not tired at all. It could just very well be the second set. Incredible.
I mean, I can point out one more example. That third set, remember, one game went for 25 minutes close to.
26 minutes and 2 seconds.
Pressure plus intensity, yet they looked as fresh as they could. No one was bogged down, or no one was mentally short as well in that. So, man, I mean, it is the most demanding sport in history. Yet for these guys to remain fresh, and big time salute to their determination and the fitness levels that are now in tennis. I mean, it's alpha male kind, I may add.
Yeah, we thought we'd reached alpha male levels with Nadal, but I think Alcaraz is pushing it to the next level. Yeah, absolutely
Next
incredible
level.
The key for him will be to stay fit, because he's very young. He's already had 2 major setbacks. If he can stay fit, then no one is stopping him from ruling the roost.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
Indeed. And Shane,
Just
a
a point.
special shout out to one of our family members, Suresh Kumar. He predicted it. And as promised, if Alcaraz would win, we would take his name and feature him. So, boy,
Suresh
congratulations,
Kumar,
Suresh Kumar.
Very good call.
You
He's
called
probably
it.
the only one who stuck his neck out and said, Alcaraz will win, mark my words. Everyone else said, we hope. He said he will. Wow.
That's a big
Hats off,
prediction,
hats
considering that's not his favorite surface. A big prediction. Singularity sends us a super chat where he says that the biggest difference, fitness is time restricted. It adds 33% of the stamina. He's talking about eating, fasting. So maybe he's sending a message out to Shane and Siddharth also. Start doing it.
Yeah. So, I mean, somehow whoever we are supporting in this Wimbledon, we are just not getting it right. I mean, Medvedev, Alcaraz, we thought Medvedev would have an edge. Alcaraz just blew him away. Now we supported Djokovic and Alcaraz, and we said Djokovic is the favorite. Even he also, 5 sets.
In
The
fact,
jinx of cricket is coming to tennis now.
in fact, as Vignesh Conrad points out, recently people were talking about, say, a Stefanos Tsitsipas coming, a Medvedev. I'd add to that debate even the likes of Alexander Zverev or Yannick Sinner, who were seen as next big things. But Alcaraz has just come from out of nowhere, out of syllabus, blown all of them away at this point. Already a two-time Grand Slam winner.
Yep, absolutely. And okay, Vishesh Davar is saying, I think it's a bit unfair to call Novak and Rafa the GOAT because post 2010s, the surfaces have slowed down significantly. It's like holding every World Cup in India, ICT winning and calling ICT GOAT. No, no, Vignesh, no.
No.
Totally disagree, Vishesh. Totally disagree. The surfaces are slowed. That is subjective. And even if it is slowed, even if all the surfaces are on par, still achieving that level of consistency, that too in tennis, is
It's very hard.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I don't agree with your comment, Vishesh, that surfaces are slowed. Not an excuse.
Surfaces
at
have
all.
nothing to do with it.
Yep. Then that means you are saying that Alcaraz's win in this surface is not great. That is your indirect assumption then.
Not true.
Yep. So, yep, Mainak Bishwas is saying turning off the guard reminds me of the Roger versus Sampras fight 2001. Yep. At least Roger will remain unparalleled at Wimbledon, though Noel will be the GOAT. Yeah. Good news for Federer fans. Didn't equal the 8.
I think you could very well see Djokovic at least equal him next year. I don't see anything stopping him unless his body gives up on him.
Yeah. Because see, Rafael Nadal has clearly mentioned 2024 it's his last. Djokovic another 2 to 3 years, maybe not. Depends. But this loss will definitely have an impact on him because you had a streak, 35 matches you had won on grass. Then you won Wimbledon. Then you won the French Open. Suddenly now with Wimbledon losing to Australian and French consecutive, I think it could have a dent on his future mental peace if you have to look at it.
And don't forget, this is the first time he's lost at centre court since 2013. It's utter madness when you think about it.
Yep. Andy Murray, right? He lost to Andy Murray.
Yes.
First British guy to win after 77 years at that time. Wow.
It's technically Scott, but okay, let's not go there.
Yeah, but Brit, what to do? So, any other? Djokovic said 36 is the new 26. Well, he did play like one.
Yeah.
So, any other questions, Shane? Yep, absolutely. So, Carlos Alcaraz Garcia. What a moment for the youngster and what a moment for tennis. I mean, social media is going to explode today with all the comments. I mean, let me just be very, very brutally honest about it. And so, what an action-packed moment. I mean, we've now got 2 new winners. In the women's, you have Vondrousova. I mean, breaking the Swiatek, you may say, domination that was there. Vondrousova has won now. Alcaraz has won. When was the last time we had 2 totally new winners when you have to look at it on Wimbledon center court?
I think you have to go back a long time.
Long time. I mean, I see in the men, I think it would have been
Murray.
I mean, I have to really go back a long time. Yes.
I think the only other really new winner would have been Murray.
Murray, yeah.
Who else?
Murray and Serena, yeah. I mean, I think it's the first time it's happened. 2 new winners, totally.
For a while, I think we'd have to go back.
Yeah, because in 95 we came close. 95 or 96. Richard Krajak winning against Washington. And then, but Steffi Graf won it in the women's. So that's why I think that one half stat is winning. But yeah, 2 new winners. Congratulations to them. But what a Wimbledon. What a Wimbledon 2023. Yep. So, shall we call it a day, gentlemen?
Technically, you'd call it a night, but yeah.
Yeah, technically we'll call it end of 16th July.
How many Grand Slams is Alcaraz going to end up with?
29.
14, 15 at the very least, if his body holds up. At the very least.
Yeah, wild guess. Because we're all shooting in the dark. We don't know.
20.
He's just 20. Yes. 20.
Yeah,
I think he looks like a 20 sort of Grand Slam kind of a player. He looks like it, but I agree it's fitness which is going to be crucial because for once, and it's a very rare occasion, and I say it again, For the very first time, I saw Novak Djokovic not have an answer to the opposition. He's played Federer, he's played Nadal, he's always found a way because he's never been the second best player on the court. He's lost to them, but he's never been second best. And I'm talking about Novak Djokovic, the transformed Novak Djokovic, not his early years, from where he corrected his diet and did all the high altitude training. That Novak Djokovic. From there on, I don't think I've ever seen him. He could lose a match; it'll be a close match, and little bit here and there. But I think for once, I don't think he had an answer to what Alcaraz was offering, because he could outrun him, he could out hustle him, he could outpower him. All of that put together, and that's rare. That's rare. I don't see anyone close to that, and to have done it on grass. He's a 20+ Grand Slam player, but never say anything to predict like that, because sport fitness plays a major role. So again,
okay, more than the 20, which Grand Slam do you think he could dominate?
Honestly, he seems very all-surface, because people keep talking about the fact that he's clay court specialist, but he's not actually won a clay court Grand Slam. It's 2 Grand Slams. One came on the hard courts, one's now on grass. He's an all-court player.
Yep. But I think he will kind of dominate hard, looking at his style of play. I think his game is much more suited to the hard courts rather than grass or clay, because clay you will need a lot of physical attrition. Looking at his fitness, I think clay could be the antithesis of Nadal. Nadal won 14 alone, so it's a big deal in I think Shane's frozen. Yep, Shane's frozen.
Yeah, you also froze. I think there's some sort of a network thing.
Oh, is it? Okay. Strange. Yep. Any other questions? Any other comments? Many people say it will be grass.
Vignesh is saying, don't you think that it's unfair because sports like tennis, golf do not allow players coming from humble background, very expensive sport? No, I mean, tennis is no more an expensive sport. Yeah, in Europe, everyone has access to this sport. Ikpreet wants to know, do you think Djokovic will come back in 2024, or is it difficult now? Of course he'll come back.
He will.
Yep.
If there's one person who's going to come back, it is going to be Novak Djokovic. Rahul Addi is with us. He says that Becker was the first unseeded player who won, and then Goran won too. That's true. That is true. Yeah. Of course. But in Alcaraz's case, he wasn't unseeded. He was seeded number one.
He's the world number one.
Yep.
Rahul
and Goran was the wild card.
He's a big Nadal fan, and I'm sure you would have been very happy watching Alcaraz win today, because believe you me, there are shades of Nadal in him. I'll tell you what, that forehand that he plays, so Nadal is, Nadal's the only one, whereas follow through, most guys with the follow through is this. Nadal's the only one where a follow through like this, right? Where he takes it over his head. Watch out for Alcaraz's forehand. He does that. He's a right-hander, so looks different, but he does the same Nadal forehand, whereas follow through is this, goes over that top spin.
Like that lasso whip.
That Rafa would get that top spin. He would give this follow through for the top spin. Where everyone else, you see a Djoko is like this, or you finish off like this, or you see a Federer finishing off like this. But in Nadal's case, he's got that whip like this for that top spin, and I think this is something that Alcaraz has. So Spanish, Ferrer as his coach, Matador on the tennis court, doing what he did to Federer, him doing to Novak Djokovic. There's so many parallels, so many similarities that it's incredible. Same countries.
Let's hear from Harshit. He just joined us.
He's joined us late because we only got 5 minutes left.
Say that again.
Said you've only got 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, so go ahead. Scream your lungs out. Say whatever you want to.
The floor's mine.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys. Yeah, I totally loved it. Yeah, constantly through the broadcast, they were showing the duration of the 2019 final, and I was just hoping.
4 hours 57 minutes.
Exactly, 4 hours 57 was 2019.
Yes,
Did
I
this
know.
one?
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, did this one cross that though?
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
sure.
Did not.
Yeah,
No,
No.
yeah, yeah.
it didn't.
So exactly, every time that they should, and I think it was that bug was fired just twice. I was like, yeah, will it cross? Will it not cross? But at the end, I was like, yeah, let's just hope there's a new champion this time, because I don't really care if it's the longest since that long or not. But at the end, what a game. I was just, especially the comeback that he made, being one set down. And what really impressed me the most was the fact that, the slice that he was trying a lot in the first set, and then the second set as well. It didn't turn out well for Alcaraz. But he stuck to his guns, regardless, he didn't give up on that shot, and it really paid him dividends later on. So for a shot that wasn't giving him points and wasn't, it didn't turn out to be those winners that he was hoping for back then. He stuck to his process. He stuck to, he stuck to what he really truly believed in, and those drops really worked out towards the end, especially the fourth set. I was amazed with the guy. And first set, I was like, because he was constantly, constantly clutching his left thigh, if I'm not wrong. And I was like, is the guy playing with some sort of an injury? Because he looked at sixes and sevens to begin with. But dude, what a comeback! Yeah, I was impressed with the comeback, and he knew that this was a guy who in 2019 had saved 2 championship points. And as it went through the fifth set, to the fifth set, I was like, maybe this is exactly was what Djokovic would have wanted. But that fifth set as well, given that he got very close to breaking it, he did in fact break. But then there was that second break as well that he was also sort of closing in on. But halfway through the fifth set, you knew that this was gonna be Alcaraz's set, and it's probably that win in the second set that gave him all the momentum that Djokovic really struggled with. Of course, the crowd sort of played its part as well, but Djokovic, you knew once Alcaraz had the momentum, Djokovic felt the pressure.
Yep, absolutely. So for Federer fans, I think they'll be a bit more happier. See, eighth is not equaled. So that one record that Federer
Well,
has.
only momentarily, maybe, Siddharth.
Why Federer fan should be happy, yaar? What is this? You're going to be happy that someone else doesn't do well. Be happy if you're Alcaraz's fan and celebrate. Yeah, this I don't understand. This happens in cricket also, huh? Like
Yeah,
Rohit and
you
Viratians.
don't want the opponent to win.
Yeah, be happy with what your player does rather than be happy with what the other guy doesn't do. Sorry, Shubham Gar has a super chat. He says, "Pathetic British commentary as always. Joko." Son was stretching. Commentator said he also needs medical attention. Same thing in FI Sky commentary. I agree. I mean, I don't exactly get your point, but Shubham, we made that point. Very biased. As much as I think all of us enjoyed watching an Alcaraz win the title, because just inside of you to cheer an underdog, a young 20-year-old win. I think but I at least I think I speak for all of us who's joining us. That is Harshit, Shane, and Sid. I have nothing but respect for Novak Djokovic for what he's achieved. If you like sport, you cannot disrespect him. I mean, you could like a player more than the other. I agree. And so can fans also be like that. But I agree that the commentary was really biased. They were being snarky and those kind of tongue-in-cheek comments about what he's going to do, what his time wasting tactics, whether for the serve and then his toilet break and all of that. I think none of that was needed. You wouldn't do it in any other sport where people are displaying gamesmanship. I did see that on display. Whatever be the reason, I think that I wouldn't appreciate that. And I agree with you, Shubham. Not great commentary. And I say this despite that I was just backing Alcaraz. Nothing because I'm his fan, just like an underdog, young 20-year-old, you
Yeah.
want him to do well because of that. But I wouldn't ever disrespect. If I'm on commentary and we're all broadcasters, we work in this industry. If I'm doing commentary, we do. I mean, I've done commentary in past. We've done like Siddharth's done text commentary, wherever you do. You can't bring your personal biases in. Even if you do, it can't be below the belt the kind of commentary. And this is at the highest level. Yeah, it's a Wimbledon final for God's sake.
Yep. But British biasness and delusionism, nothing new.
Well, it reflects in other sports as well.
Yep. Football.
I'm just I'm just saying this at a time when the Ashes is on.
And we'll be starting the fourth test soon.
Yeah.
Yep. Indeed. That's why I said British biasness and delusionism, nothing new.
By the way, guys, I think the stream will end up ending itself in about a couple of minutes.
Oh.
Should I quickly take a few comments? We've got Learn to Unlearn says, nice name. We should all follow that. Where he says Novak Djokovic still remains the GOAT. He still has what it takes to win 4-5 more Grand Slams. I won't put it past him, by the way. I agree with you. Fitness-wise is all there. Game-wise is all there. I agree. Merrick Biswas is saying, there's one thing that he was taking 33 seconds before the serves and broke his racket on the net post. I agree, but my point is he got a code violation for breaking his racket, right? There have been times in the past where he hit a linesman and was disqualified from the US Open as well. He's gone through that. You gave him a code violation, done and dusted, but you can't have bias in the commentary. If he was taking 33 seconds, point that out. Sure enough, let the chair umpire take that call. Penalize him with a point. None of that was happening. Other players have done it in the past too. Dare I say, Rafael Nadal's done it many times. Don't have those loopholes. He exploited the loopholes. Have stricter rules, and you'll be all right.
Indeed.
Yep.
But
Ikrit says thank you so much for the discussion. He's liking it. Raj says Alcaraz a little bit of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. That's an interesting thought. He's saying he's a mix of all.
He has the forehand of Nadal. He has the, let's say, stamina of Djokovic and the drop shot of Federer. So he actually does have all three.
Ooh, interesting.
But guys,
the drop shot of Federer.
Before the stream ends, and maybe we can start with Shane. Did you guys feel that maybe Djokovic was letting the crowd get onto himself a little more, and he was a little more rattled than we usually see him?
Even in the beginning.
Yep.
Siddharth?
He was. Yes, totally. You
Nikhil,
could see every shot that he hit. If it was an unforced, he would just react, and I think the crowd got to him.
Even in the first set, even when it was literally a walkover of sorts, I wasn't quite getting the celebration. I don't know, Nikhil, you disagree or you agree with us?
No. He got of course, there are many moments in the match where he did allow the crowd to get the better of him. But what I'm saying is, it's not unusual. It's happened to him in the past as well, where he's been hurt by the crowd. Yet he's found a way to win. So what was happening today wasn't unusual. It's happened in the past. But you know what? That's really fired him up in the past, where he's done well. Today also it fired him up. And I think he was on top of the game. Just for a rare occasion on the tennis court, the other guy was just not giving up. He was as good. He was hitting better winners. And whatever that Djokovic threw at him, he had an answer to it. I think he just came across a better opponent. I don't think anything else really cost him the game. Yes, he allowed the crowd to get better of him. It's happened before, yet he's won. So that wasn't unusual,
Yep.
Over to you, Shane.
No, I agree. He definitely got rattled more often than not. I think he was also kind of rattled by the fact that he was thrown off his game a little bit. Alcaraz, some of those pass shot winners he was hitting was next level.
Next level.
Yeah. On that note, I think let's when we come live tomorrow from office, let's get more people involved. I think there'll be lots of reactions on this final, one of the finest that we've seen. And maybe we can discuss it at length then tomorrow, because our time is up today. But thank you everyone who joined us. Thank you for the company joining us on Sports Today. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll try and get some interesting reactions and some insights from the final that happened today, tomorrow as well. Some analytical sort of videos will be up on Sports Today, and maybe we'll have another discussion on the Wimbledon, because India West Indies isn't too exciting. Ashes still has a few days to go, so maybe we'll do it. But catch you guys tomorrow, Monday, start of the week. Hope you guys had a great Sunday evening. Bye bye.
Yes.
See you.
Bye bye.
Vanakkam.
Vanakkam.